Hello everyone and welcome to Moonride, where we're channeling the man in the moon. Tomorrow I will be doing a joint reading with Psychic Violetta, and I'd love it if you just post some questions down here. I'll try to get to as many as I can tomorrow, and just post them in the comments. You don't need to email me or anything. I'll try to go through and pick up as many as I can for tomorrow's reading. Now I'm just going to check out. Yesterday I did a reading and I noticed these ships, and I was like, why are these ships? Where are these ships going? I think it's the ships going towards Taiwan from China. You might have missed this because there's a lot going on, but this is one serious threat, and I think that's what it is. And I'd just like to see a little bit more what's going to happen about the ships in steaming towards Taiwan. And these are Chinese ships, apparently. Yeah, I'm getting the Chinese flag. I see like a very close call between like a ship and a submarine. A really close call. And you know what? I have this feeling this is China's moment, right? While the rest of the world is distracted with this virus, it is now moving ahead to consolidate its power. Even Putin doesn't really have the power right now because he is so involved in solving the virus issues. I don't know if China has solved it, but they don't show any signs of caring or not being able to multitask, right? So this is how I see it as like a transcendent China. It's like a China has more power than it ever had before. They're very puffed up at the moment, and that is going to be a real blow in a sense of the world and freedoms. Just that in the United States of America isn't there. Somebody's going to step in and fill that void. We've lost all our powers in Asia. We've lost all our powers over the World Health Organization, which we fund. So this is China is thinking big now. I don't feel like it's going to go as well as planned for China. It's funny because I see like these epaulets, like they're like a general. Who's that? And maybe it's just the idea that Chairman Xi is being like a general. China doesn't usually attack foreign countries as a rule. It certainly doesn't get in wars as much as we do. I know they took over Tibet, for example. But they generally don't send warships. They're usually not that overt. So this is a really important time for all of us. And there's the chairman. He's looking very sneaky. What's he doing? And I get like a long road into the future. Okay, so I see this sort of golden road in the future. But something will stop them, right? They're going to get a little bit of the waves, and then something is going to stop them. Still, it does not look good. It's here is under Trump's presidency, China is rising, and they're getting a lot more powers. It's just literally the opposite of what we were told. Do you need to know anything more? No, they're telling me you don't need to know anything more about that. It looks like a significant incident. And but it doesn't look deadly, or at least it doesn't look serious beyond the implications of China taking its power. I do feel bad for those people in Hong Kong because I am seeing them and they're really struggling. They're really trying to hold on to some autonomy, and they're not succeeding very well. But they're trying. I mean, for a moment, applaud those people who are fighting tyranny. If you could take a moment to pray for them in your own way, whatever that means. Wow. Okay. So we need to know no more on China, no more on Hong Kong. Okay. So what else? Venezuela popped into my mind. Another ship. This time it looks like a U.S. ship, and it feels like it's Venezuela. The word just popped into my mind, and I'm seeing their president. So what are we doing there? It's like a little bit almost like a skirmish. A couple of soldiers come out of their ship. And I'm sorry, I keep saying soldiers. I mean sailors. Come onto the ship. But actually, maybe they don't necessarily even look. Well, are they sailors? They're wearing like more particular, almost like a dress uniform or something. Oh, they're changing their clothes, right? So it's almost like they're trying to go there in disguise. Now I'm sure you guys remember, we already, there was already an attempted coup in Venezuela, apparently sponsored by the United States. But this looks like maybe another attempt. They're doing some kind of, I got industrial sabotage. There's an explosion. Mm. There's some kind of an explosion. And I do see sailors kind of flying through the air. Yeah, expect something, some development around that in Venezuela, right? Now, understand that none of these things is, the end of the world. These are just little skirmishes around that kind of show the relationships of power that America now has with other countries. And they don't show very well. We haven't really succeeded in doing anything in either of those countries. There has been no positive changes either for the people or for Americans or for the world in either of those two places. Trump's really trying to create some distractions. And the only distractions that are coming up are ones that he cannot control. So he's trying to create these incidents, but they keep backfiring because he's honestly not very smart. He's smart about the media, but he's not very intelligent as a human being. Anybody who believes that you can gargle, bleach and say that on TV and get away with it is not a bright person. So who else? Lindsey Graham does come up again. Huh. He's really pouting. He's throwing like a Donald Trump-like temper tantrum. He's so mad. What are you mad about, Lindsey? He's like pointing at me. He's like, I'm mad at you, and I'm mad at this. And then he's pointing at a tabletop like there's papers there maybe. And then he's like ranting, and he's so mad. And then suddenly he sees something, and he's like, uh-oh. Uh-oh. I wonder if this is even Trump's taxes. He's trying to cover it up. He's getting really upset. He's getting really worried. He's making a lot of phone calls. And he's starting to get the cold shoulder. So senators that might come out to protect him before are like maybe even Chuck Grassley are starting to they're not interested in helping him. He's getting more desperate. He's trying to pull all the levers that he can. He's calling in a bunch of favors. Frantic. He's ready to do almost anything to address this problem, whatever it is. It's like I just get the feeling he's involved in something, or maybe it's again shown in Trump's taxes, or something is revealed that implicates him, and it might not be readily available to us, but he can see that it's going to expose him, and he's going to work overtime to try to cover it up. Wow, okay, so I've been told, move on from Lindsey. Who else? Look, Chuck Grassley does show up again, and he's kind of leading a movement, a much more centrist movement. He's pretty much reading the writing on the wall and seeing where this election's going and saying, well, I'm going to be your more reasonable centrist Republican. And that's like the coalition that he's building right now, which is going to go against the right-wing fanatics. And so he is, being a lot nicer to the Democratic Party. He's really trying to sound and be reasonable. He's starting to put limits on what Trump can do, right? He's just trying to appear reasonable. And in some sense, he is being reasonable now. This doesn't excuse past mistakes. but he is showing up going, wait a minute, maybe people will vote for us if we present a reasonable middle. And that's kind of where he's going. It's like he's got that fake smile on his face, that political smile that's not real. So he's just trying to like make calls. Hey, let's try this. Maybe you could, walk that back a little bit. Who's on my team? The fanatics are really going nuts right now. They're really trying not to be the centrist. It's like because they're under threat, they're extreme. And they're getting more and more like spinning in their extremism in a desperate ploy to change the topic here. I'm seeing the last whistleblower, like yesterday, today, I was reading an article and I can't remember her name. She's the whistleblower who talked about the lack of masks and the lack of supplies that Trump is now replacing. He's just fired her. Well, she knows more, or at least there's more to her story. So when she's fired, it may be that in a few months or something, she's going to come and she's going to be a witness, I think, to other crimes, other things they've done wrong. And it's just making her angry. She went in front of the senators in a private closed section, and they just went on and on about China, and they didn't ask her about the things that she saw that were mistakes, and it's just making her very upset. And she's just like, well, all right, I guess I can't get any truth out of these guys, and maybe I'll have to try a different way. And that's exactly what she's going to do. She's going to turn to some people in in her sphere and go, take a look at this. And she's going to start contacting some senators about other things that Trump has done and other faults that there were in this organization. So this guy that they've replaced the head of the NSA with a Trump lapdog. I can't remember his name. He's got really black hair. He's a real dunce. Believes in lots of conspiracy theories. And sorry guys, I lose nouns when I'm channeling. But you guys, you'll know who he is. He's like the head of the NSA and all these different organizations. He lied on his last resume, which is why they didn't put him up next last year. But now he's there, and I know it's not Redfield, but that word keeps coming up. It's not him, but he's there, and he is way over his head, and foreign countries are doing circles around him, and he has no idea. This is a guy who believes, he posts conspiracy theories on a regular basis. He has no real experience in this field, and he is just way over his head. He's just fooled into believing absolutely anything. And he just does one crazy, dumb thing after another. So he's just, it's not even like he's just Trump's lackey. He actually believes some of these nonsense stories, right? So he believes whatever crazy conspiracy theory is showing up. So it's really easy to fool him. So, Russia, China, anybody who wants to can throw him a bone, and he'll get distracted and worry about something, which has left the world completely open for their manipulation. And this is going to come back to haunt them. This is one of those things where it's really, really bad for the world and the United States. And it just politically and socially, and he blows it big time. And he'll pay for this. He'll be investigated and humiliated and potentially jailed. Because I see him behind a jail cell. He also knows some stuff. So when he is interrogated, in order to save himself, he will spill some beans on Trump. Like, I see the two of them actually in a jail cell next to each other, and they're like fighting through the bars, and it's gonna make Trump really heartsick. Like this, he's like, it's like a blow to the chest or something. Melania is walking away from Trump. And I've seen this for a long time. I mean, we don't know what the relationship's like, but I really see her, and there's just like a particular space, and I guess this is the White House, what I'm seeing, where she walks away from it. It's really funny because there's like a gigantic vase. I don't know why that's important, but she's just walking away from him. And she's just like, I always get the feeling like she has already left, if not physically, she has, mentally, spiritually left him already. She's already closed him down and just talks to him when she has to. This is kind of Trump's lifeline into humanity. There aren't that many people who he can actually have a conversation with, right? And she's a person who, obviously was a marriage to some degree of convenience and not necessarily true love, but she's able to give him some affection that he needed, and that's just, it's not there anymore. So Trump's even more desperate to get affection from the voters, from the American people. He's desperate. So he keeps doing these really desperate measures to get there. And it's making him more and more vulnerable because he'll do anything for a compliment. He'll do anything to put another down in the next couple of months. And man, is it looking bad for them. I mean, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse until the day of the election. I see Trump like literally imploding on TV. And you might say, oh, come on, Dave, that's already happened a million times. This is looking so messy, so out of control, so much like he can't get it together that it's like he's having a breakdown on TV. I suggest if you're any kind of reporter, you just keep asking him factual questions. Stay neutral, ask factual questions, and don't let him get away with walking away. Just be, I don't understand why somebody just doesn't ask him the simple question. How many people who suffered a loss according to COVID have you called? When you call, what do you say to them? I don't understand why a reporter never asks him that. Because, of course, the truth is he hasn't called anyone. And he would know how to comfort a person if he called. You don't have to be mean or anything. You just ask the question, right? Oh, I'm sure you've called lots of people. How do you comfort them when you do? Realize that there's no answer from Trump because he cannot empathize. And I want to recommend this as a sort of, one thing that's going on the planet. It's also going on in the universe. There are heavy, darker, not good forces in the universe. And it's really one thing that we're learning as we approach these people is, how to deal with, it makes us tougher and stronger. But, when I do my work, I have to be careful. I have to go through a very clear process to make sure the dark stuff, it doesn't get in. And It is, in a way, considering that, as we're living here on this planet and we get very frustrated, we're trying to do this, this is also practice. This is all practice for humanity, for us to know, how do you fight untruth? What do you do, right? And it can be very, very frustrating, but, learning how to play baseball is frustrating. Learning how to use your computer is frustrating. But there is a goal, and once you know what the goal is and you accept the difficulties towards a really good goal, it'll be a lot easier for you. Keep that in mind as you're battling this stuff. There is an end, and if only in terms of self-transformation, only in terms of how you can do better, how you can live in a space where you're still honest and truth and doing the right fight, but at the same time, you don't let that fight envelop you so much that you forget about yourself. Right? These two things are existing at the same time. And it's very, very important that you accept that these things will never be solved in our lifetimes. You, however, could be solved in your lifetime. You could achieve a good deal in this lifetime of just, if only self-awareness. If it was only that, it would be a brilliant success, right? Hopefully you can do that and help others. But if it's only self-transformation, if nothing else occurs in your lifetime, that is a success. So don't worry if the universe isn't reflecting you perfectly. That has to sort of start with you, and the fight that you're having really creates that possibility for you. And Spirit says that's enough. Thanks so much for watching.